It seems like all I've been talking about the past few videos, talking about hauls and such things. I've been talking a lot about clothes, and I'm going to get back to my reselling roots a little bit. Well, I guess my second set of roots. My very first set of roots was in clothes, and then I moved on to vintage and tools and cookware and all sorts of other things. And, inside thrift stores, finding clothes is a lot easier than a lot of those other things. But estate sales and garage sales are where you can find, all the other stuff. In Oklahoma, it is garage sale season. It kicked off last weekend. There was a few. It was pretty cold last Friday morning. But yesterday actually, I started seeing the signs go up, and today they're just everywhere. And I found myself at 3 different sales today on my way back. I got up this morning, packed, shipped orders, went and dropped off my boys and at school, and hit a few sales on my way back here to the storage unit. So this is going to be maybe a little bit quick. We've actually got it's regionals, speech and debate regionals, which can then advance you to the state tournament today. And both of my boys are competing in public forum debate and extemporaneous debate. So just a small braggy moment. My oldest son, who's a senior this year, we're getting ready to ship him off to college, which I don't know if I want to talk about that right now, but he just got his emails a few days ago that were letting him know that in the entire nation, he's in the top. He hit the premier category for debate nationally and is in the top 3% of debaters in the entire country, which was awesome. And then he followed that up with an email that he got from the state and letting him know they had all the points rankings, that he was number 1 ranking points debater in the state of Oklahoma. So yeah, try talking him out of something. You're gonna go 3 or 4 rounds, but no, it's all good. So yeah, so today we get to go see some more of that, and my wife and I we judge while we're there. We're volunteer judges for the school. We're not allowed to judge our own kids or anybody from our school, obviously. But so yeah, we get to watch these high school kids debate on very, very relevant topics in today's political environment, and it is pretty interesting to hear some of the stuff that high school kids come up with. And it's just, man, this is our next generation of leaders. And after being there, sometimes I feel like we're in great hands, and then every once in a while I'm like, but anyhow, just a little off topic. But let's talk about, before I get started, if this is your first time here, I don't always talk about speech and debate. That's just today. But my name is Brian. I'm a reseller, and I create videos on YouTube. So welcome. In my reselling business, I sell on eBay. I'm an everything seller, and you're going to get a very good picture of what that looks like whenever I show you some of this stuff right here. There's some really interesting things that I came across today. I only hit 3 sales, and it took me, I was about an hour and a half. I spent about an hour and a half total at those 3 sales, and picked up some cool stuff, quite a little bit of a variety. So I do have one item, I guess you could call it a clothing item. It's a hat that I'm going to showcase at the end that I picked up at a thrift store just to get some feedback. Just to get some feedback. I'm going to show the items in the order that I bought them. So that way it's not the highest or the lowest, even though the first 3 are the highest 3 in dollars. This was a good sale. So yeah, let's take a look. So the first item I picked up was this old Sears Craftsman. This is a truck box, toolbox for trucks. And for the older trucks, it would go under your seat or behind your seat. I've actually sold this exact same toolbox about 60 days ago. The one that I sold then, I picked it up for $2 and sold it for $55. That one I bought for $1 and I'm going to sell it for $55 plus shipping. That's plus shipping. Yeah, and the guy, he goes, "Oh, that's a great box." He goes, "You can go, under your seat or behind your seat." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm definitely familiar with these boxes." So I'll just hit it with a little bit of soapy water, clean it up, and get it listed. They're fairly rare. You don't find them all the time. I guess, been very lucky to have found 2 of them. So yeah, so that was my very first pickup of the day, and that got the blood pumping a little bit. And I walked around and was going to set the toolbox down and walk inside because, oh, there's a bunch of stuff inside. And that's when I saw this box. I grew up fishing Zebco 33s. If you are a fisher person, you probably grew up fishing with Zebco 33s as well. And when I saw this one, I was like, wow, it's even got the box. And I opened it. This cool wood grain cardboard insert. And I was like, this thing, it still has the original. It's like, this is brand new. This piece, it's still got a little bit of like oil from when it was made. It's got the instruction book in the bottom. Like, this is brand new. And I said, "Hey, how much do you want for this fishing reel?" And this guy, they're doing an estate sale for their parents. And he you can tell he just wants to get rid of stuff. Super nice guy. He goes, "I don't know, $2." And I didn't know what it was worth. I knew it was worth more than $2, but I really didn't know. So I was like, yes, for $2, I'll buy it. Don't even have to think about it. And I did some comp shopping on eBay after I got back. I could not find that exact same one. Couldn't find it. I found different versions of different reels of 33s. There are more sold than listed, so that's a good sign. But I think I'm going to get at least 50. Could get 75 for it. So, my totals here, I kind of erred on the low end whenever I did my totals, how much I spent, how much I expect to make. But between $50 and $75, I'm probably going to go in at $74.89 plus shipping and then turn on offers and just see what happens. And, with the $2 buy cost, I can be a little bit flexible and get that guy out the door. So that was a cool one. Then I'm setting that stuff down. I set the box down, the toolbox, on top of like a blow up Christmas figure, inflatable Christmas thing in a box. And it's right next to a bag of golf clubs. The bag is just super, super dirty. I'm going to donate the bag. But I saw this set of irons. These are Adams Idea by Adams Golf. And they have the Aldea Super Shaft High Launch shafts on them. The original Adams Golf grips. They're still in decent shape. This is a set from 2003. That's when they made these. I know that because I looked them up on eBay and I found one of this exact same set of irons, 5 through pitching wedge, sold about a month and a half ago for $155. Again, a little bit of hot soapy water. Those things are going to clean up really, really nice. I grew up playing golf. It's so easy to clean up golf clubs. I'm not worried about that at all. Originally, I said, "How much for your clubs here?" And I got a couple other random clubs that not really worth selling. But he goes, "I think $20 is probably pretty fair, right?" And I hadn't looked them up at all. I looked everything up whenever I got back here. So I didn't look anything up on the spot. And I was like, well, so I don't know. I know Adams, makes a good brand. My dad just bought some Adams woods a few years back. But I was like, I'll think about it. He goes, "How about $10? $10 for the whole bag, everything." He goes, "You can even keep all the stuff in the pockets, the golf balls and the tees." And I was like, man, I can't go wrong for $10. Even if I use them or I give them to somebody, like, I cannot go wrong for $10. So I picked them up, $10, and I'm going to list them for $154.89 plus shipping. I'm excited about those. First 3 things I found in the day, I was like, wow. Then finally I start trying to get into the house, and out of the corner of my eye, I see these, like way off to the side. They forgot they were even there. These are for cassette tapes. The reason why my arms will be shaking a little bit is because they're full of cassette tapes. I didn't want the cassette tapes. They didn't want the cassette tapes. So I just left the cassette tapes in there. But the bottom one, the one on the very bottom, has a dent in the top right here, like a little hole dent. But because of the way they stack and it doesn't affect the drawers coming in and out, I don't think it's going to be an issue selling it. But yeah, so this is how the tapes look coming out. They go long ways. That's a new one. I haven't seen that before. Looks like they hold 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20, 40. So 40 tapes per. So this will be for 120 cassette tapes. I asked how much. He goes, man, I didn't even realize those were over there. Sitting on the floor of the garage. He's like, I don't know. He goes, what do you want to pay for them? I said, it's probably going to sound a little cheap, and it's okay to say no. I said, but I'd pay you $1 a piece for them. I said, and I don't really care to have the cassettes. And he goes, yeah, we'll do that. I said, you want to take the cassettes out? And he goes, not really. So now I have all these. I got a whole box with like 200 cassettes over here that I've gotten from various drawers like that. So I've got to find, I don't know, I may put all of them in a giant box and just sell them for like $25 or something. I have so many cassettes, but, yeah, so the 3 drawers plus all the cassettes, paid $3 for those. I'm going to sell that set of drawers for $29.89 plus shipping. And man, these things, you know, it's bulky, but this will go in an 18 box, no problem. So I'll just put, a piece of foam, like packing foam, in between each one, shrink wrap all 3 of them together and pad the bottom, set that in the middle of an 18, and padding around it on top, ship it FedEx home delivery, and it'll get to where it's going, no problem. No issues. Super easy to ship those things. So if you come across them and they're $1 a piece, I wouldn't be scared of them. All right. And then the last item that I picked up at that sale, I was walking through the house, and so I'm going to get to the kind of a message after I talk about this mug right here. But walking through the house, and the lady so this was the grandson, who's an adult, who was, you know, making the deals on the stuff. His mom was inside the house. It was her parents' stuff. So it was this guy's grandparents. It was her parents' stuff. Her mom had collected all this really ornate porcelain and glass and dolls and bears, and had a bunch of this stuff in the house. And there was some really, really cool stuff that people in our generation, my generation, and younger, they just don't collect this stuff anymore. And there's just a horde of it out there in, you know, thrift stores, estate sales, and it just, nobody wants that stuff. So or not many people do, but not many. And so her, you know, we're just talking, just kind of shooting the breeze, and I was just asking her questions. She was telling me about the stuff. Really, really nice lady. Betty. I think her name's Betty. I see this mug. This is a Federal milk glass mug. My van mug. And it just hit me. I was like, that's so cool. It was well used. I don't know if there's a way to get that out. I'll have to see. But it looks like it's been years and years of use. And so that is such a cool mug. And I pulled it out, had painter's tape on it, said $5. And she goes, how much is on there? I said, it says $5. And she goes, oh, bullshit. And I said, excuse me? She goes, my grandkids priced all this stuff. She goes, that's $1. It's $1 for that mug. And I was like, oh, I said, I'm not even going to think about it for $1. I'll give you $1 for it. So we start talking about all the different stuff. And she said that her dad had a van, like a camper van, and he saw this mug somewhere and bought it. And this was the mug he drank coffee out of in the van. It stayed in the van. And I was like, that is just so cool. So I picked it up for $1. And if my wife doesn't see it, I'm going to show it to her, because I think she may like it, but I'm going to do my best to talk her out of keeping it. But picked it up for $1, and I can sell it for $15. I think pretty easy. So now here's the message. I wrote this down. Be nice on my paper. Make sure when you are shopping, you're engaging with people, you're nice to people, you're talking to people, ask questions. You never know what you're going to find out when you start asking people about stuff or just talking to them. So she and I are walking around the house. She's like, oh yeah, there's some dolls in here. And I was telling her how I saw this massive collection of dolls at a Goodwill the other day where it looked like somebody had passed away. The estate sale probably didn't sell it all. Got to Goodwill and there was just this huge collection of dolls. Another thing that people don't really collect as much of anymore. Old porcelain dolls, that kind of stuff. And she's like, yeah, she collected dolls and bears and the glass and stuff. And she goes, and my dad let her because he collected trains. I was like, oh, like model trains? And she goes, yeah, like HO scale trains. And I said, oh, really? That's cool. She's like, yeah, I don't know what to do with all the train stuff though. And she shows me pictures. He had built, like, in a room of their house, an entire city. It was very, very detailed and huge. And she has lots of train cars in the package still from TG&Y, I don't know, 50, 60 years ago. And just so many pieces and parts and all this stuff. She's like, I don't even know what to do with all this stuff. I said, well, you know, there's a big following on eBay for train stuff. And she goes, really? You'd be surprised how many people don't really even think about that kind of thing for eBay. Don't even really think about eBay. I said, yeah. So I've watched a lot of people on YouTube who, you know, buy and sell stuff on eBay with train stuff. And I said, I sell stuff on eBay as well. I said, if you have a hard time getting rid of it, I said, I'd be happy to come over and take a look and offer you a fair price for it, you know, just so you can get rid of the stuff and maybe I can make some money on them. She goes, that'd be great. So we exchanged phone numbers and she's going to call me next week and to come over. She gave me the address, her phone number. And so I get to go. I've never used the term private pick because I guess I've never done one, but I guess that's going to be my first opportunity to do something like that, is go check out all these train parts and pieces, electrical boards, switches, just all this stuff. It was pretty cool, the picture she had. So that's Be Nice example number 1. Be Nice example number 2. Yesterday I was at Goodwill, the closest one here to my house, and I'm looking through a rack of pants, and you know, they make the announcement coming out to bring out new clothing items. Don't shop the rack, blah, 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 blah. And the lady comes up and she's fairly close to me and she's pulling some stuff off the rack to put it in the pants aisle. And a hanger like flew off, an empty hanger in my general direction. And I heard her, she goes, ah, dang it. Because she's got her hands full and she sees the hanger. I was like, hey, don't worry about it. I said, I'll grab it for you. I'll just put it here on the rack. So I hung it up and she goes, oh, thank you. And so she goes away and I don't know, she was loading stuff in other parts of the store. There's a couple people loading up the store with stuff. And I went over, switched to the shorts. And I started at one end, got all the way down to the other end of the shorts. And I'm like within the last 3 or 4 pair. And she comes out of the rack and she goes, now there you are. She goes, you got all the way to the end of the shorts. And I've got more shorts here on this rack. And I said, really? I said, well, you have any good ones on there? And she goes, maybe. She goes, what are you looking for? And I said, honestly, I said, I'm not looking for anything for myself, really. I said, I'm reselling the shorts. So I'm just looking for, you know, better name brands. And she goes, oh. So then she just starts picking them up. These are Patagonia. Do you want these? Yeah, I'll take those. Thank you. These are, and this is the way it happened. It doesn't happen this way every time. I know it. She goes, these are Peter Miller. And she flips it around and it's Millar because I see the crown. And she's like, do you want these? She's like, yeah, I'll take those. And so there was 2 pairs of Peter Millar. There was the pair of Patagonia. There was a couple other pair that were name brands. I'm forgetting off the top of my head. I don't know why. But that she picked up and said, would you like these? It's like, yeah, I'll definitely take those. So she handed me 4 or 5 different things right off the rack. Nobody else, they didn't have a chance to hit the retail shelf. Anybody else didn't have a chance to go find them. And I was like, I don't know if I wouldn't have grabbed that hanger and hung it up for her and just said, hey, don't worry about it. And just taken that little bitty small thing off her plate. If that transaction would have happened or not, maybe it would have. I don't know. But the way that just all happened, it's like, how many times is somebody going to walk out with a rack and go, oh, look, we have a bunch of like higher end name brands here. Would you like them? And just hand them to you. So be nice to people, and don't fake it. Just be genuinely nice, and you know what? You're going to feel better when you're nice to people, whether or not you get anything out of it at all. Shouldn't be nice to people expecting anything, but it's going to make you feel better. So just be nice to people. All right. I'll stop saying be nice now. Be nice to people. All right. Going on to the next one. It was an estate sale. It was really off the beaten path in a beautiful house overlooking a private lake. It was super, super awesome location. The stuff wasn't that great inside. They had some cool stuff. They had marked not for sale, like a giant stained glass Harley Davidson, like pool table light, but it was over their dining room table. That was not for sale. They had a big green egg grill outside, the ceramic grills, not for sale. Just about everything else was for sale, but those two items. Only item I walked away with, a lot of their stuff, the decorations were very kind of gaudy, over the top type stuff that I just more modern feathers and giant chunky vases, and not the stuff that I buy or decorate my house with. So, but I came across this NASA Johnson Space Center mug. Found this exact one, a brand new one, sold for $20 in about the last 30 days. That one's not brand new. I expect I can sell it for $15. It's 25 cents. So bought it for 25 cents. Gonna put it at $14.89 plus shipping. Left there, went to a garage sale and only found 2 items, but I walk in and I swear I cannot get away from these things. It's like they're attracted to me now. I'm attracted to them. I don't know. But I saw it sitting on a table, and if you can guess what that is a Salad Master steamer insert. It threw me for a loop because of the handle. It's kind of the right shape, but it doesn't say Salad Master anywhere. And then I realized it says it right there. It's on top. This is a more modern version. It's the same size as the last 2 I've sold. It's an 8-inch base to go in a saucepan. But the last 2 that I bought them for, well, the last one I bought, so I bought it for $1. Sold it for the last 2. I sold them for $10 plus shipping. So I'm going to put this one at $14.89 plus shipping, and I might put it at $12.89 plus shipping, and see if I can get one sold at a higher price. But I expect I'm probably going to end up selling it for $10 again. But I paid $1 for it, so not bad, and no tax because it's a private garage sale. So it was just a flat $1. And then I was going up. I didn't really see anything else I liked at that sale, but on a table near their little payment table, I saw this Toyota branded crossbody fanny pack bag. It is brand new. I'm betting there was probably some kind of giveaway table somewhere that Toyota was doing, or when you bought a car, they gave you a little swag bag, something like that. But there's not a speck of dust. Nothing's been in this bag. It's still, the straps are still at their original, position. There's no, it's brand new. So they only wanted 50 cents for it. So pulled out a couple quarters, gave them 50 cents, and I expect to sell it for between $12 and $15. There's a whole bunch of different Toyota fanny packs, crossbody bags on eBay. I didn't see this exact one, but $12 to $15 on that. So the stuff that I bought, spent $19 in total, and my expected sale price is $340. That's why I love garage sales and sometimes estate sales. The quarter for that mug was pretty good for an estate sale, but man, hitting garage sales, being able to spend $19 and expect $340 back out of it is the profits that we're all looking for. So super happy about that. Now this item I found at Payless Thrift Store yesterday, or 2 days ago. Was it yesterday? I don't know. Yesterday or 2 days ago. I saw it, and I saw the Microsoft thing on the side, and I just kind of flipped it around, and it looks new. It looks like a swag piece or promotional piece from the company. Usually if they're used, even just a little bit, you'll find some stray hairs in here. There's no stray hairs. There's no sign of wear. There's none of that. I bought it for 99 cents. I've got a discount card, so I get 15% off. So 15% off, and then plus tax, I probably paid about 95 cents for it. But this threw me off. It said indigenous at Microsoft. And the letters, it's hard to tell, but they're raised letters. They're like that rubberized letter. And the color pattern was interesting. I was like, I wonder if there's like some kind of software or something called indigenous, or I couldn't find anything on eBay, Google, pictures, images, nothing. And finally, I just Googled indigenous at Microsoft just through Google, like looking for search results, not images or shopping. And they celebrate, I don't know if I think it's Indigenous Peoples Month. And they have like a celebration of First Nations people. And so I'm pretty sure this was a swag piece. And I'm sure if you are either, maybe it's if you support, or if you are an indigenous, have indigenous heritage and you work at Microsoft, you get one of these cool hats. And I was telling my son, and he goes, does that mean I can have it? My son, my wife, and my two boys are both of Cherokee Indian descent. So I was like, dude, I said, you're 1/528th Cherokee. You don't need to wear an indigenous hat. So here's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm going to sell it on eBay. I don't know what to sell it for. It's very unique. It seems like it's very unique. And I don't know. I thought about putting it up for like $50 because there doesn't seem to be any out there. I don't know. What do you think? That's the thing I'm looking for some help on, is what if you came across this and it's like the only one that you seem to know of because you can't find it anywhere else, what would you put it up for on eBay? I'm going to wait a couple days and just see if I can get some feedback before I put it up there. And then from there, just going to let it fly and see what happens. So that's it. That's everything for today. Getting ready to sail off into the weekend. I've got speech and debate tournaments all evening. We'll be there till 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. And then tomorrow it's going to be 8 a.m. to probably 6 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you have a great weekend. Until next time, have a great day.